Okay. This is Mishlei 21:8. Hafachpach derech ish vazar v'zach yashar paolo. It's a hard one to translate. Yeah, go ahead.
Does well, is that like keep fate for like turn over, like
yeah,
to,
reverse or turn over? Yeah, yeah.
And Haas looks like the inquisitive Haas. Like,
so that's what I have not seen any Mepharshim who actually interpret it that way, but I can see why. I don't know how to explain like what the I think maybe because hefech is part of the shoresh, and then the second pach is just like a something like I don't know what to call it. Hafach pach derech ish vazar.
Oh, what's the chaf doing? It's part of it.
Well, I think this is one of these. I think this is one of these like double shirashim.
Right.
Or no, sorry, not double. It's the form is taking on a like okay, I don't know what I'm talking about, but like like hefech, like hafach, like we in English we say like flip flop. Yeah. It's like flip flop, hafach.
Okay, so I don't even know how to count it. They're reversing the way of a man, and a stranger, a foreigner, and a pure and upright is word. Okay,
yes. Very good jumble translation. Yeah. Okay, no, it's very hard to do. So hafachpach is something to do with like reversal, right? Let's just separate it by like, or actually, how will we do it? Or we'll just put it together and modify as we go. Derech ish, the way of a man. All right, now this is the strange word, vazar. Right now, I don't mean that in a pun way, but okay. Zar means strange, right? But does something strike you as weird about the way it's written, about in this first half of the pasuk? Hafach derech ish vazar.
Written before a comma, kind of, which is like why it seems like an adjective.
Yeah. So the first weird thing is it an adjective or is it a noun? Okay. So strange. Okay. So and then the other thing and. Yeah.
Whereas an adjective would be what?
So the other thing is, if it's an adjective, what would it be adjectifying? What would it be describing?
And if it would
the derech, right?
You read as a verb also.
I don't think you could read as a verb.
Like to a strange man.
Actually, I think some Mepharshim do read as that. I just don't think you could do it, but it's not, yeah, I think we'll see in a second. Yeah, so I can't explain why this feels weird, but when I was preparing this with Ken yesterday, and we both thought it was weird. The kamatz is weird, and I don't know anything about grammar. Okay, I don't know anything about grammar or dicto, but vazar, doesn't that look weird? Vazar, right? Wouldn't it just be vizar, like with a shva, like vazar? Doesn't that sound weird? Okay, I don't know.
Like that.
Yeah, when I'm holding a gun to your head. Yeah. So I'll show you what some people do with it in a second. But okay, v'zach yashar polo, and how do you translate zach?
Pure.
And pure. Okay. And how did you syntactify it? V'zach yashar polo.
And pure upright is word. I don't know. If pure and upright are people, adjectives. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the difficulty here is what's an adjective, what's a noun, and of the adjectives, what's qualifying what, and what's parallel to what. So just to make it even more difficult here, so let me show you what AlHaTorah does. Okay, and I had this took me into a world of something. Okay, so AlHaTorah has as a separate entry. Okay, meaning just to show you how the AlHaTorah dictionary works in general. So ordinarily you would click on, let's say for example, lasos. Okay, and it would take you to the shoresh. You can actually make it in terms of the shoresh or the form, whatever. Okay, anyway, hold on, let's just do that again. Okay, and it'll show you all of the various do make, and then all the various like instances and meanings. Obviously I picked on the one that has like the most meanings in the entire Hebrew language. Okay, but anyway, but then you click on Vazar, and it only has one. Now, anyone know the fun Harry Potter spell sounding name when you have a word that only appears once in an entire literature?
No.
Fun word. Hapax legomenon. Okay. Hapax legomenon is a word that appears only once in the entire like body of literature. So let's say like, I don't know, if Shakespeare only uses an English word once, then it's hapax legomenon, or like in there's a what is it? It's either cheese or pants. It's either cheese in Eov or pants in Daniel. I just remember it was a very, very amusing thing of like, oh, that's the one pair of pants in the entire Tanakh, or like the one piece of cheese, So like it's always a difficult thing. Like how do you figure out what the word means, if it only appears once? So if you have like a lot of other existing literature in the surrounding, like in that language in the surrounding time period, then you could infer it, but otherwise you're just kind of guessing, So not only does this AlHaTorah dictionary think that it is a hapax legomenon, but it also says si vera, which I had to look up, si vera lectio, which means that the word is dubious, okay, or text dubious. Wait, sorry, si vera lectio. I looked all of this up this morning. Si vera lectio means, if the reading is correct, okay, and then possible ditography, okay. So if you had to guess what a ditography is, you know both words, ditto and graph. Ditto means repetition, and graph is. So I think graph is reading or writing, right? Like dysgraphia or writing. It means writing, right? Like graphite, right? So possible ditography in Vizar Vazach. So what do you think that means? Possible ditography in Zar Vazach. Here, let me show you this.
Should be the other half or something. Repeated?
Yeah. So the theory is that that at some point along there was a scribal error, okay, and one of these words got repeated, and like either the resh got elongated to become a chaf sofit, or the chaf sofit got cut off and became a resh. So really it should just say hafachpach derech ish vizar yashar polo, or hafachpach derech ish vizach yashar polo, or is there another way to say it? No, I think that's it, right? Those would be the two readings. Okay. So then I was like, and this again, I have no idea what I'm doing here. I put in all the questions to like all the people who know this stuff, so hopefully they'll get back to me within 24 hours. So do you know the what's the most authentic Tanakh we have? The Aleppo Codex, right? So the Aleppo Codex, again, this is a whole Indiana Jones saga of the Aleppo Codex. Was the one I read a book about it a long time ago. Basically the most authentic and the oldest Tanakh manuscript that was completely intact. And then it was preserved by the Jews by the Syrian Jews. And then there was a fire in the shul that held it, and it disappeared, right? And then, sorry, not by the Syrian Jews. It was the Jews in Aleppo. Okay, then there's a fire, it disappeared. And then parts of it were recovered. Large parts of it were recovered from like Devarim through like last part of Devarim through the end of Tanakh. But then other parts were not. And like the singe marks were like something very, very suspicious about the singe marks. And then fragments of it started turning up in Brooklyn, right? That Jews were keeping as like good luck charms. And so this is like this insane thing. This is the most authentic like text of Tanakh, and it is not just authentic, but it's beautifully preserved. So I looked it up. So look how beautiful the text is, and we're talking like 1,000 years old, okay, or more. I don't know. So, and this is the part I don't know, and I really wish Ariel Hermanov were here because he would be able to answer me this scribal thing. So here you see hafachpach derech ish vazar vazach yashar polo, and there's a giant white space in between. Now, when I was at the Faders 2 Shabbos ago, and Ariel was showing me his Megillah he wrote, he was saying how like there's a lot of leeway, or not leeway, a lot of freedom on the part of the sofer to like fill out the line however you want. Yeah, I think so. And then I don't know though. Here's the thing: I don't even know if he knows this because Mishlei is not something that's written a lot. I don't know what the status is of the spaces in Mishlei. Like I know it's written as a shira. In the sense that like it's spaced out on the columns like in a dual column way. So I don't know if like this is preserved in the Masorah or if this is like a sofer's definition or a sofer's decision. And if they are separated, so then like the chances that you're going to accidentally like copy the word a second time to the other half is like less. But then again, I don't know what the history of the like writing down is. So so this is just a weird case in Mishlei. Oh, and also here's another thing. who do you look to? This is another just methodology point. Who do you look to in the Mefarshim, in the standard Mefarshim, if you want to know like textual ambiguity stuff?
The Sora guy and the shiur.
Yeah. So yeah, the Minchas, and I always think this is the greatest irony, right? So this is the guy who talks about the what do you call Nikudos or like different Sofer stuff. And the fact that he talks about Nikudos and I hear people pronounce it Minchas Shai or Minchas Shi, like no one knows how to pronounce his name. I think that's like an irony here. So he doesn't say anything here, you know? So I don't know what to do with this. That's the moral of the story. Ibn Ezra, so everyone else takes it as, all the other Mefarshim take it as a variant on Zar. So for example, the Ibn, well, all right, we know there's two Ibn Ezras. Let's look at the, in the packet, let's look at the real Ibn Ezra first, okay? So real Ibn Ezra is the Ibn Ezra Kisvei Yad, right? Hafachpach Shem Toar. So he says it's an adjective, okay? Kamo hafuch, like reversed or opposite. Who kaful ha'ayin v'halamed. Okay, ha'ayin v'halamed.
Yeah, like the second.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant in hafachpach. I was like, we have to worry about another missing letter. Okay, al mishkal skar. Okay, fine. That's kind of, I see. This is what I was saying. Is that what I was saying? That basically like it just doubles it, right? Again, I don't know. Ubavur havav shu b'milas zar more hakasav ki techsar mila min pasuk. Okay, so he theorizes that the word vav means that there's a word missing from the pasuk. Okay, v'cheina perush l'olam yihi hafuch u'muvuvas derech ish, that a person, the derech ish will always be hafuch and mu'uvas, will always be like perverse or and corrupted. Sorry, derech ish Russia vazar. So he adds in the word Russia. He just adds in the word Russia. See, so this is what's so weird about this pasuk is like no one knows what to do. Like everyone senses that this word vazar is strange. Okay, so they either add stuff or they, I don't know. Okay, so he adds in the word Russia. We're not going to read the rest of his commentary yet. So let's just go back to the translation here. Okay, and let's just get down. Okay, all the work here. Okay, so hafachpach derech ish vazar. So one way to say it is hafachpach means, all right, let's just do this here, okay? Let's split out hafachpach and just say the meanings here. Hafachpach can either mean, could either be a synonym for corrupt, okay? Or criminal / guilty. Oh, sorry, no, that's for vazar, sorry. Okay, corrupt, that's one, okay? And then we also have to have vazar, which can either mean corrupt, which it could either mean criminal, guilty. Oops, sorry, criminal or guilty, okay, or strange, right? All right, so now let's look at the other minimalist Mefarshim here. So Saadia Gaon says like this, and this is one that we have to pay attention to because this is actually like, we can read it, okay? Timsa Adam mishapech bedarcho v'naase zar la. How would you translate that?
Find a person who's, I kind of looking into his mind, maybe?
Okay, yeah. So right, I was just thinking that. So in Pirkei Avos or in Chazal Hebrew, mishapech means to investigate. And that's what I thought Saadia Gaon meant. And then I read his Perush, and he says it means he switches his derech. Okay, or he makes himself switch in his derech, who makes himself switch in his way. V'naase zar la. Yeah, strange to it. Okay, that's like David. You want to translate it as a verb.
Yeah.
Right. So he becomes estranged to it. Okay. The hazach hu shepalo yashar. The zach guy, the pure one.
That's not whose action is.
His action is straight. Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's Saadia Gaon. So that's, I mean, again, everyone has to like kind of work with this translation in a way that like makes sense to them. So you do you. So that's how he does him. Targum Ksuvim says, "Dehapich orche degavra hu nuchra'a So I did not know how to translate this successfully. De gavra, one who perverts the way of a man, hu nuchra, he is strange. V'didche, and a pure person, tritzan ovadohi, his actions are pure, or sorry, are truthful or upright. I'm going to delete him because I think we have enough on our plate right now. Okay. Okay, then we have our school. The way of a man is sometimes inconsistent and strange, but a pure one's every deed is upright. So they translate hapax as inconsistent, okay, which I think is a good shot, okay. But a pure one's every deed is upright. So they kind of add in the word kol, okay. Living Nach says, oh, so Living Nach connects it to the previous pasuk, which I also am not interested in doing because we have enough on our plate. But the ways of a man, and find the ways of a man divergent and strange. Okay, so they say divergent, but the deeds of the pure are upright. Okay, at least the second half is like translatable. AlHaTorah says perverse is the way of a stranger man. Okay, so he makes it stranger man. Okay, like a ish vazar. All right. But his deeds are straight. Okay, now AlHaTorah is going to say something which those of you who have been with us for a while, this just made me laugh. Okay, watch what AlHaTorah says in his footnote. A strange man. The Hebrew literally man and stranger look suspect. Okay, so that's what everyone says. Some amend ish vazar to ish kazav, a lying man, which reads smoothly, though it has no textual warrant. So the guy AlHaTorah who like always is just like messing around with the text, he's like, I won't do that because like the text doesn't warrant it. It's just like I don't know. So I'm not going to go with this ish kazav. I don't even know where he would get that from. Like ish kaz, like vazar and kazav. Okay, whatever. Okay, so now let's try to come up with our own translation just to get something to work with here.
Should we add for
yeah.
Perverse?
Yeah, perverse. Corrupt. I think perverse will just be a variant of corrupt. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Our translation will be like this. Yeah. So how are we inclined to translate it? Anyone? Or do we just want to like take Saadia Gaon and like use his? I mean, I don't know. How do you try? Just given everything you've heard, is there one that like stands out to you as like being the least not smooth? I don't think any of these is gonna be smooth. Yeah.
Saadia Gaon seems to have a pretty simple shot in that people who try to switch their ways.
Yeah.
Be faulty in switching their ways.
Yes.
Who are consistent and.
Okay, good. So let's highlight this as one that we're going to work with. Okay, and then just for kicks, let's just come up with our own one that embodies a different way to take it here. Oh, so let me explain. Yeah, let me explain that with more methodology here. So Saadia Gaon in his Hakdama says that there are like I forgot what number, like 10 different Mishlei types of Mishlei psukim. Okay, something like that. And he says that some psukim sound like they're speaking in absolute terms. For example, this one sounds like it's saying the way of a man is hafach, okay, and zar. But really what it means is that there are certain people who this is true of, okay? And in fact, someone who says this better, which I saw this morning, is the Ibn Kaspi in his second interpretation. So Ibn Kaspi, another methodology, a lot of methodology today. This is AlHaTorah methodology though. Okay, so I advised, I forgot it was on Thursday. I think I said you should make your own account on AlHaTorah. So once you make your own account, come up with your own highlighting system. Okay, so my highlighting system currently consists of 3 colors. Okay, yellow is good pshatim that I know I'm going to come back to, like if I ever teach or learn this. Green is in methodology points, and then blue is ikarim, like Yesodei HaTorah. Okay, and this way, if you have your account, you can easily find, so like you'll see this example here. Ibn Kaspi says like this: Hafachbach derech ish vazar ilu amar. It's as if it's saying derech ish. Sorry, another methodology point. Okay, this is methodology in life and in organization and in study skills. Okay, part of, and again, I used to teach study skills at AlHaTorah. So like I'm again, and I'm also like a habit specialist, right? So part of being successful in habits and routines is setting up effective systems. Okay, you set up something that is very easy to implement, and then you implement it consistently. So the fact that, again, I only created an AlHaTorah account last year, but the fact that I just make this simple thing of 3 highlight colors, and now if I implement it consistently, it's just gonna grow. Like, so my AlHaTorah account like is just gonna have all of this stuff in it that is just, easily like referenceable. But it's just, you got to come up with the right system. If I come up with a one color highlighting system, that's better than nothing, but I also wouldn't know why I'm highlighting something, So like you come up with a good system now and it just pays off in dividends later. Okay, anyway. Hafachbach derech ish vazar amar kilu amar derech ish hafachbach. It's as if it's saying the way of a man is hafachbach. Klomar kain anashim rabim. This is true of many people. The ilu amar yesh derech ish. If it had said that there is a derech ish, haya yoser mavor ukvar hodaticha, it would have been clearer. And I've already made known to you ki gezeros zeh sefer, that the sentences in this book. Okay, this is part of the methodology point. The sentences in this book of Mishlei, yesh mehem efsharios asher al harov. There are sentences which are expressing something that is very common or very probable. V'yesh me asher al hashivui. There are ones which are equally likely or unlikely. V'yesh me asher al hama'at. And there are other ones that are only rare cases. Upa'amim kasuv bam beferush yesh. And in that latter category where it's only like a rare case, it'll sometimes say the word yesh. Okay. Or another place where he says this, and again, this is because I highlighted this. I was like, I remember teaching on a Monday night shiur last year, the same thing in Ibn Kaspi. Where is it? And I found it here. V'da'o ki gzeros zeh sefer stamios. This is much clearer. The sentences in this book are stated unqualified. Okay, stamios, Ratoni, what I mean by that, she'ein bam choma, they don't have any qualification or limitation, literally a wall. V'kavana barov elu she'em kololos. The majority of the psukim in the Sefer are general, okay, they're generalizations. Ki kavanaso ba'amro ben chacham, so for example, our pasuk here, ben chacham yisamach av, a wise son makes his father happy. So when it says ben chacham, kol ben chacham, it implies every wise son. Many of them are said in general, but they mean that they are very probable. But some of these proverbs are stated in generic terms, but they're not probable. They're just equally likely or equally unlikely. Or they are unlikely. And in that latter category, Yivar of Yomar, it'll be explicit and say yesh, that there is a category. Yesh misasher. There are some people who make themselves wealthy. Okay, fine. So that's a general Mishlei rule, which is that all psukim are stated in, or almost all psukim are stated in generic terms, but you have to always have in mind that either these are expressing general truths, equally likely or unlikely, or sometimes even rare cases, even though they're stated in generic terms, but sometimes the rare cases will be stated with yesh. Okay, so what do we get from this? Where do we start? Someone asked me, who are we reading? Yeah. Saadia Gaon, thank you. So yeah. So why is Saadia Gaon say, Timsa? So what Saadia Gaon says in Timsa is what Ibn Kaspi says in the, like, you'll find cases where. Okay, and Saadia Gaon does not make the differentiation about whether it is equally likely or like or rare, but he's saying it that it's not making a statement about all people. He's saying you'll find a person who is mishapech b'darko. Yeah.
So he's translating, and I wouldn't say like giving a little bit of shot on it, but he's like kind of like adding a little bit more.
He is adding on more than just what the pasuk gives you. Yeah, right. Yeah, in other words, yeah, because the pasuk would just say a person's way is hafachbach, and he's saying certain people's ways are hafachbach. That's basically what he's saying. Okay. So you want to work with that for today, because I actually prepared Saadia Gaon idea for this today, but we didn't even ask our questions yet, right? So let's ask our questions, and let's ask our questions based on Saadia Gaon for today. Okay, and then we can always come back to it tomorrow and do a different. I'm going to delete alter. Yeah. All right. So what are the questions here?
Why is he switching his way?
Yeah. Oh, can I give you another methodology point?
Yes.
Okay. I heard this great Tim Ferriss story. I forgot who he was interviewing. Okay. And this is a long story, but it's gonna be a good one. Okay. So, there are these cases where, like, it used to be believed that until like the scientific era, people, I've been looking for an excuse to tell the story, by the way. Okay. So, believe before the scientific era and like empirical science, then people just relied on like folk remedies and stuff for medicine. Okay. And there's no real distinction between folk remedy and like actual science. Okay, then scientific age came along, and then we started being really, really good at testing stuff. And then all folk medicines were dismissed as superstition and primitive. Now scientists are starting to come along and realize that like, oh, there are certain things that like people have been doing for thousands of years, and it's because they actually work, right? So there was this, I don't know the details. There was some shaman in some like, I don't even know where it was. I think it was like South America or something like that, that would treat, obviously he didn't know about diabetes, right? But there were whatever diabetes symptoms there was like a local, treatment that he would do, like that he would prepare. And like scientists found, they did tests and they found that it actually works. So they said to the guy, like, can you please like tell us like all the herbs and stuff that you use to prepare this? Because we want to test it under laboratory conditions. So he gives them like all the herbs that he tells them all the herbs that they use. So they tested this in every single permutation in the lab, and it didn't work. Okay, like it just didn't have these effects. So they were puzzled. So they went back to him and they said, the things you told us didn't work. He said, well, what do you mean they didn't work? You told me that you tested like all the people I was doing this on, and you got measurable results. And they're like, yeah, we can't explain this either. So could we watch you prepare it? Okay, so they watched him prepare it. He took all the herbs, put it together in the same order he told them, and then he like throws in this little crab. Okay, and they're like, whoa, like, what are you doing? And he's like, that's the crab. Okay, and they're like, you didn't tell us that there was a crab in there. Okay, and he's like, well, you didn't ask. And they're like, yeah, we did. And he's like, no, you said, what herbs do you use to prepare your medicine? And I told you all the herbs I used to prepare it. You didn't say like, what ingredients did you use? So like in his mind, like, okay, these weird Western scientists are just asking for the herbs. I don't know why, but so they had asked the wrong question or failed to ask the right question. And lo and behold, when they actually like prepared the thing with the crab, somehow like it actually worked, So the moral of the story is one of the reasons why I am insistent on listing all of the questions at the outset is because if you miss one question or you misask one question, it could throw off your whole analysis, or you could be like starting off on the wrong track, or not even the wrong track, starting off on a track and not knowing that there is another track, and there will get to be a point where in your learning of Mishlei or of any other thing, you don't need to exhaustively list every question. Like when Ken and I learn, we no longer list every single question because we're telepathic at this point, but like, like when you get to that point in learning, but that's why I'm so insistent. Like we could have easily just gone to the Saadia Gaon, but I'm concerned that if we omit a question, then it's going to like, it's going to like lead us astray somehow. So yeah. Okay. So questions, what are the questions? Good story, right? Yeah, the little crab.
Why is he switching his way?
Why is this guy switching his way? Okay, or if you want to put it in more general terms, what is the cause of the hapax phenomenon? Okay, right. Is that an alarm or is that, hold on a second. All right, whatever. Yeah.
Naas's law, does that mean he, the man, becomes strange to it, or it, the way, becomes strange to itself?
Okay. Naas's zar law.
And is it the new path or the old path?
Yeah. Okay. So let me just put this in general terms. What does Naas zar la mean? The man, what do you say? The man becomes estranged to the path, right? Or the path becomes estranged to itself. Estranged to itself. And Chaim, what do you say?
I was saying if it is a path, which path is it? Is it going on the new path, the old path?
So
It's now switched,
right.
Then the path becomes strange.
Okay, and which path is switching? Yeah.
As another question is why are we contrasting a hapax, which we're saying is like a whatever we want to say it, and a pure person?
Okay, good. Yeah. That's gonna be a key question here. Okay, so why, in what sense is the hapax I'll get this one time. The opposite of the zach. And just to give you a little, just to clarify the etymology here. So hafach comes from like hefech, right? Like from switching. Okay. So if anything, I would think that hafach is the opposite of yashar.
Yeah.
Right. Which it could be. You could read it that way. But in the way that Saadia Gaon is reading it,
right,
it sounds like it's the opposite of hafach. And then zach, the opposite of zach is avas. Okay, and this is from the Sefer HaSharashim of the Radak. Okay, that that he says that his theory is the words zechus and avon come from zacha or zachach, which means unadulterated or clear, like zechuchis is glass. Okay, or well, yeah, shem zayis zach. Right, so zach means like free from adulterants or free from things that make it impure, and the opposite is really corrupt, which is why you see, by the way, that some of the Mefarshim did translate hafach as corrupted, not switchy. Okay, yeah. So yeah. Oh, by the way, just another data point here. When I read this, I associated to a Gemara in Megillah. And you could argue that Chazal are using the word hafach differently than Shlomo. There's a Gemara in Megillah. I think it's a known Gemara that why did Ma Rasa Esther Shazimna es Haman? Like, why did Esther invite Haman to the second party? And the Gemara goes through like 10 answers. And so one of the theories that it gives is Achashverosh hafach b'chan haya, that Achashverosh was a hafach bach. Okay, and if you know the Megillah story, that'll give you a picture of, you need like an example of something to have in mind for hafach. So 1 minute Achashverosh is like loving Vashti, the other minute he's like killing her, and then the other minute he's like regretting it. And then like, you know, with Haman, like he promotes him and then he hangs him. And then like, you know, he decides to, you know, it's like a fickle-minded personality. Okay, so that is one. I'm not saying that that's what Saadia Gaon means, but that is another definition of for the inconsistent one. Okay, fickle. Right, changing your mind a lot. Yeah, Yaakov.
It says zach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that like defining what a zach is?
Good question.
Just saying
Okay.
What it
is zach polo yashar a definition of the zach, or just a characteristic? Is that what you're right? Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah.
What is he being inconsistent with?
Okay. What?
Is it like midos?
Yeah. So you know, we didn't even ask, what is a hafach, right? What is a hafach? Okay, what
is hafach does that have to be the person?
No, correct. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. So what is a hafach person or a hafach? I got it. Derek. Correct. Yeah. But we'll keep in mind both. Even though Saadia Gaon is like looming large up there at the top of the screen. So is it midos, actions? It's not going to surprise you. This is not even a spoiler alert, because at this point we can just assume that this is the case. Rabag learns that this is about ideas. Okay. Because that's how he's been learning all of our pasukim. By the way, side project, if any of us are interested, I would like. I've been kind of keep tracking the Rabag on his interpretations of the Pasukim in 2021. Seems like all of them for the last like couple weeks have been about thinking. So it would be really interesting to, after we're done learning all of this, to go back and see the full picture he's saying about like all these Pasukim, and just learning the Rabag on like thinking methodology, because that's what he learns these Pasukim about. So we could try that when we get to the end. Yeah, David?
I would also mirror question 1 and say for the latter part of the Zach and Yashar.
Yeah.
What is a
right
person or Zach path, and then what is Yashar?
Yeah. Okay. So let's because we don't know how to read it. Let's see. Yeah. Hold on just a second. Do we say what is a Zach yet or not?
We said is a definition, or I guess.
Yeah. Right. Right. So I guess what is Zach? Okay, and I'm gonna put that as part of this thing, because we don't know if it's part of the definition or not. Yeah, and then I'm also gonna modify that question. Okay, which is, oops, I'm gonna modify it to say, is hafach the opposite of the zach, or the yashar or yashar pa'alo, right? Yashar pa'alo. And that I'm just trying to preserve the ambiguity from the previous question. Yeah.
How does he become strange to it?
Yes. And how, as they used to say in the 20s. I feel like that's like old timey phrase. And how? Yeah.
We're in the 20s.
Oh, it's true. It's appropriate. Good point. Good point. We've got to bring back all that roaring 20s slang and the transatlantic accent. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know. I had the same temptation. I was like, no, I've done this before. I'm not even gonna try. Okay. Yeah, I know. So I think here we definitely need to ask who the audience is, right? And what is the practical application? The other question I want to ask here is if hapax, so this is kind of dependent on the Re Ibn Kasbi's question. In fact, I'm going to ask it here. Okay. Is this hapax phenomenon a part of human, just how would I say it? Human nature, or is this a this is not the best way to put it, a Mishleic deviant. Okay, but I mean like I don't want to call him a fool. A Mishleic fool is a Mishleic archetype. Let's put it that way. Okay. In other words, if you read it as the way of man is hapax and zar, that's expressing the truth about all or most human beings. Okay, but if it's if hapax is a certain type of person and zach is another type of person, then it's like more, it's a Mishlei archetype. Yeah.
What do we say zach was again?
Pure or unadulterated. I'll put that up here. Yeah, hold on just a second here. Oops. Zach is going to be pure or unadulterated, same shoresh as pure oil or glass.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, like zechuchas.
Zechuchas, yeah. Yeah, it's funny. That was the in the Sefer Shorashim of the Radak. He says zacha and zachach are the same same shoresh.
Was he in the 2-letter school?
He was, I think, the main pioneer of the 3-letter school. Yeah, yeah. Or not, sorry, not pioneer. He was one of the main defenders. Oh, I read, by the way, ever since we brought that up, I printed out for 2 Shabbases ago an article to read about the wars that I was alluding to, the Russian wars. And so, yeah, someone was beaten up and thrown in a dumpster. And they don't know whether it was the Talmidim of the other guy or not. And they don't know if it was like an ordered hit or like a, but it was violent. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
How are we defining the polo?
Oh yes, polo. That's another good question. Also, there was accusations of one of them being a kofar because of his grammatical interpretations of certain things. Not that denying grammar is one of the ikarim, but he like used grammatical things to try to read kfira into his opponent's like denial of I forgot it was Tchias Mesim or something like that. It was like really vicious stuff. What does polo mean?
And also, like, why aren't we writing Derek? Well, like, if we're writing.
Yeah. What is the relationship between polo and Derek? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a good question. Also, again, just basic methodology. Mishlei here is that it could be synonyms, and it's just switching it because Mishlei doesn't like to use the same word in both halves, or it could be actually different meanings. Yeah. All right. Do we have our work cut out for us? Do we ask what stranger? No, we asked what stranger meant, but we asked it like that. Whew, look at that. We got difficulties. We got trouble, my friends. All right. So anyone have any ideas in the next 5 minutes? I mean, obviously we'll have to continue tomorrow, but we could do Saadia Gaon, or if you want to come up with another translation now that we've like asked all the questions, I'm fine with that. Or here's another option. I don't know if I want to do this. I can read you the Saadia Gaon Perush because he's very explicit in giving you, in spelling out what the pasuk is talking about, but without telling you the idea. And that way we can like have that in our mind and then think about it for tomorrow.
Okay, I feel like I have a little bit of something that just needs to
Sure.
percolate a little
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
I think when people are often shifting like personas or identities, it kind of goes back and forth, almost like a pendulum. to a
Yeah.
degree. And when you're much more stagnant in check, it's consistent.
Yeah.
Right?
Positive connotation. Yeah.
It tends to balance out.
Okay.
Kind of just a rephrasing.
No. So that is at least giving us some direction for hapax. So if hapax is inconsistency, right? Like, so let me just actually use two different terms here. Okay. Like there's two different ways you could be inconsistent. There's like, for lack of a better term, a more emotional inconsistency. And then what do we call intentional inconsistency? Like when you specifically switch back and forth,
Change.
but in a bad way.
Oh.
Is it divergence?
Divergent could just imply one, but I'm saying like where you're constantly, I would say hypocrisy, right? Where you're a hypocrite, where you're like behaving one way here and one way there, you know? So I guess the other question here is hypocritical or hypocritical, right? So you're taking the stance right now, from what I'm understanding at least, or it sounded like you were talking more about like just a more emotional inconsistency of like sometimes you're like this and sometimes you're like that, or were you saying like intentionally you're like, you know, having a double standard?
I don't know.
Okay.
I guess it's more like a personality thing.
Okay.
But,
Yeah.
Going on that though, I
Yeah.
would say that using our definitions of bizarre,
Yeah.
you can't really be criminal necessarily for or like guilty at the same way for like an emotional kind of thing like that. I mean, a hypocrite is somebody who I think is more closer to the idea of like a criminal or guilty.
Right. Well, I guess it depends on how you define criminal and guilty, because I'll say, okay, given the fact, let me actually, another methodology thing. Okay. If vazar is a hapax legomenon, if it's only said here, so where the heck does AlHaTorah get that it means criminal or guilty? Where would you say? Yeah, from it being the opposite of yashar polo, right? So criminal guilty here doesn't mean like illegal criminal. It means it's the opposite of yashar, you know? So there, and if you're saying it like that, I think you can do an action that's the opposite of yashar, even if it's just coming from emotional inconsistency. Yeah.
I think a way that this can apply both to doing actions and to the Torah.
Yeah.
So if insofar as actions, there's someone who's like constantly trying out different methods and they never actually just continue down trying to work a certain path.
Right.
They're only going to get like 3% of a lot of different things done, and you're not really going to actually have anything done for themselves. So they just take one thing and just go down 100%. Yeah. They will actually go ahead and accomplish.
Okay. So then this raises the third possibility for Vazach Yashar Polo, okay, which is Zach Yashar Polo a definition of Zach, or just a characteristic? Or is it saying that you become a Zach through Yashar Polo? Right. In other words, if it's, in other words, it could be saying, I'm just going to throw this out here. Hafachbach derech, if derech ish is hafachbach, it will be zar, whatever that means. But if your pole is yashar, then you will become a zach. You know? Yeah.
Okay, and I would also think that in a way you could also apply this to Limud Torah. If you take us like different methodologies, do like trial of this, trial of that, trial of that, or just actually like learn everything under one methodology, then you're just gonna not really get much.
Did we talk about this on Thursday or something like that? I'm getting a deja vu moment from like, I gave the analogy from Chazal about how the fields, right? If you plant your stuff in different fields.
Harvest time, you get a little bit of everything.
Exactly, right. You can't, no, this is the opposite of moral, is you can't gather everything. And then, but then so that's saying that you should not learn from multiple people. But then Halom Mikol Adam does say you should learn from multiple people. So like there's different chazals about whether that's good or bad. Yeah, but I hear what you're saying. Okay, let's stop for today, let it percolate. And then tomorrow, at the very least, I can hope to bring an idea from Saadia Gaon. Neder. Okay, but there's other Mefarshim as well.
Try for a recap or not?
I don't want to try for a recap because I think I'd rather let it, ferment. Yes. Yeah. All right. Good.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
See ya. Oh, Isaac, I meant to tell you this